Hi guys, welcome back to my mother's channel. I just wanted to do a health check for you and real life vaccine reaction quick video. Please forgive me. I know my camera skills are not as good as my mom. I will do the best that I can. So July 8th, I got my first dose of the MODERNA vaccine. That night I had, I vomited. I didn't feel, 100%, but it wasn't bad. The next day I was fine. July 27th, which was about 2 weeks later, I had some swelling here on my foot, and it lasted about 2 days. 4 or 5 days later, my second toe became swollen and red. So I cut off the nail and put a little antifungal cream on it. I don't know. And a day or two later, it went away. Then about 4 or 5 days after that, I had a little patch of redness on the side of my left foot. And it was tender, a little different than the other one. And a couple of days later, it went away. Friday, August 6th, I had the second dose of the Moderna vaccine. Same thing that night. I had a little backache, little nausea. Didn't really feel 100%, but I was okay the next day. Sunday the 8th. So yesterday on Saturday, one day after getting the Moderna vaccine, I was working, and at 2 p.m. started to swell on the right side and then move over to the left side. It's not as swollen now because I've been in bed for about 8 hours. Then it moved down to the pad of my foot, the instep, I guess, of my foot. It was all swollen. I couldn't walk. 4 hours after that, around 6 p.m. yesterday, the right foot started to swell in the same area. Sorry. The same instep started to swell. You could see it was red and inflamed, but not so much on the top of the right foot like the left one. So I tried to put it off and wait and see if it got better, but it didn't. It got worse. Then around 2 hours after that, my middle finger on my left hand and my thumb on my right hand got swollen and red. So I said, all right, I don't know where this is going. Let me go to urgent care. So I went to urgent care at 10 p.m. last night on the 7th. I got seen at 12 a.m. Doctor's looking at both of my feet. She says, well, it's not cellulitis because cellulitis is localized, usually due to like a cut, a scrape, or a wound, and it wouldn't spread from one foot to the other foot and be back and forth like that and then in the hand. I think it's Lyme disease. Have you ever been bit by a tick? No, I haven't. So they did a titer to test for Lyme disease. That usually takes around 5 to 7 days to come back. Plus they did a rapid COVID test and a PCR COVID test, which I just had a week ago anyway. And she says that she'll start the treatment for Lyme disease, which is doxycycline, twice a day. And she'll send over the prescription. So around 12:30 a.m., I went to the 24-hour CVS, and they didn't have the prescription. So I waited a little while, and they still didn't have it. So I told Sonny, look, I'm going to go to the ER. At least they'll do blood work. They'll get it back. They'll see if there's an infection. Wait, back up. I did ask the doctor in the urgent care if Could be a side effect from the reaction. And she said, oh, that would be a pretty off-target injection. No, it's not a side effect. Meaning, as if when it gets swollen at the injection site. So they didn't have the medicine, so I told Asani I'm going to go to the ER at Winthrop where I work, and at least they'll do blood work and get me started on something, get something in my system. Had I got the doxycycline, I would have come home, wrapped my feet, put them up, and hope for the best in the morning. At least I had something in my system. So I got to the ER and I wore my badge so they know I'm an employee. At 1 a.m., a triage nurse took me in. It wasn't a long wait to get into the actual stretcher in the ER. The PA comes in. She was pretty concerned. She was real sweet. She saw the redness. She saw the inflammation. She's like, most likely we'll do an ultrasound to make sure you don't have a blood clot. Again, I asked, could it be a side effect of the vaccine? Oh, no, they say. But she has to run everything by the ER attending. So she comes in, the ER attending, and asked me to tell her the story again, so I did. So they're looking at arthralgia, inflammation and pain in the joints, something arthritic, for me to follow up with a rheumatologist, and again, possible Lyme's. And so the nurse came in, and then the PA came back in, and I told him, look, I'm an NYU nurse. I'm not being unreasonable by asking for blood work. Why can't I get blood work? Because I asked the doctor, the ER doctor, are you going to do blood work? She says, no, if your white cells are 8, you're not going to have an infection. If your white cells are 11, you might or might not have an infection. This is an infection. This is arthritic. You'll get out of here much faster if you don't do blood work. Well, I've already called out of work at this point. I'm not in any hurry. I want blood work. Just a CBC and BMP. It's simple. Everyone who walks into the ER gets the blood work. Now you want to cut costs at my expense? I'm an employee. I mean, I'm not looking for special treatment, but come on, I am an employee. I'm an NYU nurse. It's not an unreasonable request. So I told the PA and the nurse that statement. The PA did go back to the doctor and talk to her, and she wouldn't order the blood work. So I will call patient relations and file a complaint, because I'm just thinking at least rule out any infection or anything that it could possibly be. So they did this ultrasound. It was negative. Obviously, I don't have a blood clot. No other real medical history either. No rheumatology history in my family. So they discharged me after 7 a.m. And lo and behold, the antibiotic was ready. So they sent over naproxen to the pharmacy. I did get the antibiotic, and I just came home, took the antibiotic. I also bought some liquid Benadryl antihistamine, because this is obviously an inflammatory response my body is having from the vaccine. So I got in bed around 8:30 a.m., took the naproxen, took the doxycycline, took the Benadryl. Now my feet are better. I can stand up. I still have a lot of pain, but now it feels more like the bad stages of plantar fasciitis. I don't know if any of you have ever had that, but I'm sure you have. Just the burning and inflammation and pain when walking. But now I have welts on my arms. I put some hydrocortisone just to try to get a little relief, but it's not really helping. My hands are more swollen now than they were. It's not just in the one finger, it's a little more in the whole hand. It started out as this thumb and this finger, and I have welts on this arm. So far, no other welts on my body that I've seen yet. So my treatment plan for myself is to stay in bed for a day or two, take the high doses of Motrin, take the antibiotic. It's not going to hurt me. I'll try to soak in some Epsom salt. Follow up with my doctor tomorrow. He will do blood work. It was quite upsetting that the ER just kind of dismissed my concerns. Like I said, I'll follow up with patient relations on that. I'm not able to drive, so I'm not going to be able to work. So I'll probably file for a leave of absence until all of this is resolved. So keep me in your prayers, and I know they're pretty much forcing this vaccine on all of us. I got it because my job is making us do PCR tests every 2 weeks. It's not the test I'm worried about. It's just difficult getting in there every 2 weeks because I work in the field. I'm not in the office, and I can just walk over to the clinic to get it done every 2 weeks. It's a little more difficult for us nurses who work in the field to arrange that into our schedule, and it's just more stressful. So I said, okay, you're passively forcing us to get the vaccine. I'll go and get it. However, in New York City, my in-laws are also being forced to get it by being told they have to do the PCR weekly. And they're looking at making it just mandatory for healthcare workers in the city. So we pray that no one else has a bad reaction like I did. It was pretty scary, but the more I laid there and the more I thought about it, I probably really should have got some kind of a steroid or prednisone. And I think this is a misdiagnosis and not the correct course of therapy, but I'm going to do the best I can. So keep me in your prayers. Have a good week.